Hi, I'm Marty Grisani, and this is The Marty Grisani Show. As a full-time real estate investor and business owner, I have a real fascination of finding the key principles for business success and personal development. This show is a reflection of my personal mission to find out what truly makes somebody successful in business and in life. We will find tools and tactics that they've used to reach those levels. If you're the type of person who is not satisfied with average and you have a hunger for learning that will never cease, this show is for you. Welcome to the show.
I respect the hustle. There's not many people, because I'm a hustler, you know that, but there's not many people who get it. And it's so, when you find someone who is a hustler, and some people just talk about hustling. I can't tell you, and you know this, how many people are like, yeah, I'm in that hustle, I'm in that grind. And they're not. You're not. You don't know what that even means. Like, the hustle and grind is when you're like literally like friends are like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like, where are you? Like, how come you haven't been responding? Or families like, yo, you're different. Like, you changed, right? Like, that's when you know you're hustling and grinding. Doing it like that way, like doing things the right way, or like, and it sucks that happens. That's a byproduct of just like going after your goals and going after what you want. But I'm sure that's happening to you, or it's happened to you. Is that fair?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It happens all the time. Right. Like today, someone's like, yeah, Sandy, I haven't seen you in forever. Come to Taco Tuesday. And I'm like, no, I even preserve myself from drinking during the week, and I maybe just have a drink or two on the weekend. So I don't really even go out during the week. That Monday through Friday is gym, talk to God, go to the gym, and hustle.
And
even
guys,
on weekends too, but definitely Monday through Friday.
All right, because I want to get in your daily routine too, because I think it'll be very helpful for realtors who are not really sure, like, hey, what do I got to do daily? But guys, I'm really, really excited for this episode because it's a long time coming. She's a dear, dear friend of mine. She's someone I do business with. She's someone I trust. She's someone that I know can get the job done and does it better than me. And you know how I feel about myself. So that's saying a lot. This is a multi-million-dollar producer. This is someone who's done well over 400 deals. She's absolutely crushing it this year. And I think personally, she's the number one real estate agent in the city of Rochester. She knows the city of Rochester better than any agent. I 100% believe that. I put money on it. Welcome to the show, Sandy Bradley.
Hi, Martin. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
Yes.
Can't wait to get into the nuts and bolts and the nooks and crannies of.
Let's get into the nooks and crannies. Let's like really dive in. And I really want to start off with, if you could just tell some of the people kind of who you are and what you do. And before you do that, I really want to get into this because you're someone who didn't have the best start, I would say. Okay. And I really want to talk about it because I think it's important, because it really just goes to show you that it goes to show you like, man, you made it through some stuff that millions of people, and it's happened, and I'm sure you know them, unfortunately can't get through that. Right. So can you tell us kind of what that was like? I want you to go from the start and then go into your career a little bit so people can really appreciate the career.
Oh man. When I wanted to first when I wanted to buy a house first, that's really where it starts. And I went through 5 or 6 different agents, 2 years, never bought my house. That's a whole nother story. And then because it's such a bad experience I had, I got into becoming an agent, but first I started wholesaling.
So let's go into that. What's wholesaling for people that don't know?
Okay, wholesaling is basically where you still deal with real estate. You function a little bit as if you're a real estate agent, but not. Really what you're doing is you are meeting the seller, getting the property under contract, taking the contract and having an end buyer and assigning that contract to your end buyer.
But how did you even hear about wholesaling?
So I got into it because of this woman that I used to work with at my job when I got fired from my job, because I got fired. It's a long story. Thank God for being a real estate agent.
Oh, right.
So I got fired and she was telling me, she was like, Sandy, you're awesome. We worked at the same real estate company. And she was like, you could sell salt to a slug. You know what I'm going to do, Sandy? I'm going to hook you up with one of my friends, good friend of mine. His name is Joe LaBarbera.
Oh, geez.
So I got to give Joe LaBarbera his credit. He was really one of the very first and few, because there's not a lot of people that I work with, but I work with the important people, and like you, Martin. And so
Joe's the best. Joe's absolutely the best.
I love Joe. So he has a really nurturing personality. He kind of came in, did a little interview with me, told me what to expect, told me some things to do in wholesaling, always has my back, and just kind of gave me my first steps in mentoring. So I would have to give that credit to Joe LaBarbera. So I started off with that, did some stuff with Joe, but then really realized that he had the market completely saturated. Yeah. And there wasn't a lot of money that I was going to make in wholesaling to start off. It's him and a lot of other guys have a lot of that market saturated. The We Buy Houses sign, Craigslist. And I found myself every time I'm getting a lead, Joe's already got the lead. So I still did a few deals with him, learned from him, got into going into the FRIA meetings. I met a lot of people there. I think that there was even a morning meeting, Martin, where I met you. Was that the breakfast? It was you, Matt Druin. Who ran it? It was Matt Druin and someone else, and I can't think of who the other person was, but I met a lot of people through the Breakfast Club as well. But I still was like, oh, I'm not getting the traction that I want in real estate. I got to do something more than wholesaling. So, and I really wanted to help my spirit influence people who look like me, people from my neighborhood. And I realized that I wasn't going to exactly reach them through wholesaling. So I got my real estate license back in 2018. So back in 2018, got my real estate license, started selling real estate. Now I can help the first-time home buyers. Now I can work with mortgages. Now I can do a lot more than just in the scope of wholesaling. Now I can actually work with all different types of people, not just investors. And with having that wholesale background before I became an agent really, really helped me once I became one.
I think that's a difference maker that is so important that you have that, because you can talk the language of an investor now, because you are one, right? I mean, obviously now, and we can get into that, you're now a, full on Mrs. Landlord, or what is it? Landlady LLC?
No, you got it right. Mrs. Landlord
Mrs.
LLC.
Landlord.
You guys love that name,
Love it. Love it. The brand is
I've only posted it twice. And like you and another person, a couple other people were like, yeah, Sandy, I love that Mrs. Landlord thing. I'm like, well, that really sticks.
It's a great branding, and it's something that sticks in your, it sticks in your brain. But no, getting back to that point, you're being that exactly what investors want. That's why, guys, if you're, for people listening, if you're an out-of-state investor, if you're an in-state investor, if you're someone who just needs somebody who's going to just give you the real, right? They're going to give you the real information. They're going to tell you, hey, this is a deal. This is not a deal. This is crap. This is good. Knows the ins and outs of, how, some of the finer points of like Rochester with Section 8, or just like with, just with you're dealing with tenants. Like if you're dealing with tenants, there's different programs that you have to kind of know, because again, it's fair housing. So you have to know everything just so that you make sure that you're doing things by the book. But there's ways of, making sure that you're doing it appropriately. You need to have someone who's going to be an advocate for you and that's Sandy Bradley. So if you're somebody who is looking for a realtor for buying or selling, of course, talk to Sandy. But yeah, I think that it's such a, I don't think there is many wholesalers who became agents. I don't think there's that many. And that is such a separator for you, Sandy, such a separator.
Oh my goodness. At first, because I really didn't come off with listing in Gates or Greece or the $200,000 listings. So it can be very discouraging at first. A lot of my career, first 2 years of my career, I lived on my credit cards. A lot of trips I didn't go on, a lot of tears I shed, a lot of contractors that took my money. The list goes on. So really, I mean, the first 2 years were struggle. They make you want to know if this is this right? Is this what I'm going to be doing? It wasn't really until last year, definitely this year. This year, I'm just, I don't know what to do with myself. But it wasn't until last year where I really started to see, I started harvesting on everything that I planted, all of my seeds and everything is just, so now, like I said, I've probably this year alone, probably 18, 19 deals from January till now. And then I just counted, I have like 22 deals pending. So, and we're not even in June yet. But again, this came from lots and lots of hard work. Lots of deals where we didn't, even on some of the deals we did, Martin, we didn't get rich off of them, but it just came from putting in that work and hustling. And every deal is not a home run, but man, when you hit the home runs, and a lot of time they're the easiest ones.
Isn't that funny? Well, and they're deserved then, right? Because you put in the work, you hit those singles, and those are usually the hardest ones, it seems like. And then all of a sudden you kind of walk into that home run and it's like, yeah, I deserve that. You don't deserve the home run off the bat. You have to hit and just, take those punches and, take the hit by pitches and you just get on base, right? You just try to get traction going. But what it does is it shows people, and for some reason the universe will reward it, right? But it shows people, man, this is somebody who works. And like the busiest people are the ones you want to work with, right? And those are the people you want to work with. So the people that don't have anything going on, well, you got to find and make something happen on your own. And I think that's something that you do very well is like you're a self-starter, but I think there's urgency with you. Why do you think you have urgency to get something done while you see some of your other agents around you and you're like, and they're just kind of waiting for something to happen? Why do you think you have that? Go back in your brain. Why?
I have to be above average. My name has to leave a legacy. And it's a lot of people who probably doubt me or think that I wasn't going to make it. And all of this is just a gift to myself, but to also show everybody else, like you could be whoever you want to be. It gets real deep, but yeah, well,
I want to go deep. Why does that matter so much to you?
Because I feel like, oh man, Martin, why are you doing this to me?
I'm serious. I want to know. Here's why. Because there's a lot of Black women, or even just minorities in general.
You can say that. You could say whatever with me.
I know, but they and me are inspired by someone like you, and especially someone who looks the same. And I mean, we could go really crazy. I know that if you want to talk about, your upbringing, that would even make even more people's head explodes to show where you are today. I just think it's really important.
I think it might just be that part of it is my upbringing. And like how so many people were probably like, oh, she's not going to make it. To be honest, there's even a few, unfortunately, there has even been a few agents out there in Rochester who don't actually know me. They just may know of me or have seen me on social medias and stuff. And I am not that agent who is like politically correct and this and that. And however they try to paint me into this picture of who I should be, no. I'm actually, and I love this, Martin, because you were, when I had a private conversation with you, I remember these words, and you were like, yeah, because you don't think Oprah Winfrey, you don't think she stirred up some people. And like, I remember you saying that to me on one of our Hearts to Hearts, and that really stuck with me because I'm just going to be me. And, you know, it's been working. And it's crazy because I used to be like, oh, I can't be myself. I need to paint this picture. I need to be this person or that person or try to act like this person. But as I grew in my career and the more I'm like became laid back and more comfortable with myself is when I realized that I really have a following and like people are following me and watching me. And some of my clients decided to go with me because when they go with me, they know that they're getting realness and genuineness and and I give them 100% me. I don't paint a picture for anyone. So I think that if I had advice to give anybody, just be yourself.
Yeah, it's so like easy to say that. Catching an echo, but I know it's easy to say that, but I think people, because they fail in the beginning or they think they fail, what they're doing is they're struggling and they're not failing. You only fail when you quit. So they're struggling in the beginning and they go, this isn't working. So I need to change who I am and follow somebody who is, what I, quote unquote think is winning. And that can work for a little bit, but it doesn't feel right because you're not being yourself. So it kind of, you'll fade and then you'll quit because you're not being who you are. So sticking and doubling down to who you are and being authentic always wins because it's something that you can just automatically be. You don't have to fake it. Because when we fake it is when it's just, you just die. It dies out. It's just not something it's not something that can be consistent. But I think that if you're just being who you really are and you're being candid, and I think going to your point where maybe people are like, whoa, she really speaks her mind, or she's going to be really upfront with you, or maybe people could say, maybe like they say to me, you're kind of an asshole, right? Or like you're being kind of an ass. But here's the thing about it. It's like,
I love assholes.
Well, it's like you're not gonna. You have to. If an asshole means you're going after what you want and you're asking for what you want, that's business, baby. And that's the thing. And that's about, like we were talking about, the urgency, getting after it. It's, hey, you got to sign that document. Hey, you need to go to the bank and make sure that you're approved, or this isn't working. Whoa, this is a lot. Well, then get off. I got stuff I'm doing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So that's awesome because, I really believe that you are somebody that people should aspire to. And I believe that you are someone that people can go to as a mentor, and because we've all had our own mentors, but what are your thoughts on that? Like, what is your thought on now taking this next step, right, into leadership? And how has that been? Because that's tough for me. So I'm just curious how, leadership, mentorship, how you're adjusting to that. Because people are looking up to you, they're like you said, they're watching you, and now they want to start to kind of maybe ask questions. What does that look like for you?
So that part, what I'm noticing And I used to doubt myself, like, oh, I'm not hustling enough. I'm not hungry enough. But then as I start to mentor, or I have mentored other people, what I realize is that they hustle ain't the same as mine. It just comes from I don't know. It's something that you got or you don't have. And I can mentor somebody until I'm blue in the face, but if you want these multiple deals, if you want your name to ring bells, if you want to leave a legacy, if you want to be the next Marty Grizzani, the next Joe Lavabera, the next Sandy Bradley, I can mentor you, but you still have to apply it. So many people don't apply it, or so many people just like mentor, right? You're supposed to kind of guide them to the answer, not give them the answer. And the problem is a lot of people in this generation just want it like instantly, like microwave, like, let me just give me the answer.
For those that don't know, she just snapped her fingers, but her nails are so long and beautiful that it didn't really make that noise. So for those that I can't see, keep going, Sandy. Sorry.
Yeah. So I guess that's what I'm kind of running into. I don't know, and maybe I need help mentoring because I'm feeling like some of the people that I have, they just didn't want it bad enough. Yeah. I can lead a horse to the water, but I can't make them drink.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't really got a lot to say about it. How you do mentoring, Martin?
Well, having employees,
yeah,
you have to figure out what is motivating them, because it's not always money, and it's not always, success. I mean, it's in what I believe is success, maybe what they're believing. So I have to really kind of listen better. I think that's the key to mentorship and leadership, is really listening. And it's not just, being able to listen. It's not just wanting to listen, but it's really truly, well, I should say it's wanting to listen. It's really wanting to listen. So I think that is something that I'm working at. I'm not there. Me
neither.
So, and that's okay. We're going to figure it out, but I'm curious to always hear, because this is not just an interview or me just, it's for me to learn too. This is for me to learn too. I want to learn. That's why I have people on here that I think are awesome, and that people that I know they're crushing it. So this is a way for both of us to maybe take and give as we're speaking. But, you said legacy, and man, that means a lot to me too, because that's something that when you get down to it, it's like, what did you leave when this thing's over? And the legacy is so important. Is there somebody that inspires you, that you've seen leave a legacy? Is there somebody that is like, man, that is something that is just really cool, I'd like to do that? Is there something that's like, man, I'd love to be able to donate? Or what is it with like a legacy that is something that gets you up in the morning and makes you just want to get after it?
I want to probably say my adopted parents, because I have two sets of parents. If you know my story, I'm adopted, and then I have biological parents. So it wasn't so much my biological side of my family, but my adopted side of my family did instill in me. My dad was first of all, my dad is old as dirt. And he's from Charleston, South Carolina. And he is like old school, don't play that, prepared me for the crazy world that we lived in, and has been doing that from a young girl ever since I was like 12 or 13. He's just always yelling at me, instilling in me that I have to do this. This is who I have to be, and this and that. So I feel like a lot of it came from my dad. And then he didn't have like a bunch of houses, but he owned his houses, and he was a homeowner, and he's now downstate and he owns land. And if you know anything about Charleston, South Carolina, there's not a lot of land left. It's been developed quite a bit. And my family that lives down there, they actually own, and the last portion of people that were the original owners that own this little community in Charleston, South Carolina. So that's kind of some of the, what my dad instilled in me as I was a kid. So I think that's where I'm probably getting it from.
Well, what would he say to you? Would he say like, "Hey, you're better than that"? Like, come on, you can be something. Would he like give you affirmations?
You have no friends. You have no friends. This world is crazy. Yeah. He's like, don't take shit from people.
There you go.
Stand your ground.
Okay.
And then I think what it was also is my dad got sick like 2 years ago, and he got throat cancer, and he got down to like 85 pounds.
Oh, geez.
Woo. And to see a man that like literally, he beat my ass as a kid.
Sure. Yeah.
Threw me across the room, like really. And then to see him as I'm now a grown woman, 32, own a few houses or whatever, and to see him at 85 pounds, the man who like taught me everything, that just got me to my next level. I think that's why over the last 2 years, I have just been killing it, because when you see a loved one get sick, that's almost close to death, he survived it. He's good now, but it's like everything that he wanted me to be. That's my mind just like snapped and was like, you have to be everything that your father would want you to be.
Man, if you could rewind that, guys, woo, that is so good. I think that just, we got to it is really what it was. There it is. We got to it. He inspired you, and you had no other way around it. You're like, I'm doing this, whether it's for me or it's for him, and it's for my family. And that's the legacy part. I'm doing it for the people who couldn't, but the people who believed in me. Right. That's it. It's not just for me. It's for the people who actually believed in me, and it's for the haters who didn't, so they can see that shit.
Okay, sorry.
No,
it really was. I would say, Martin, that they always say that motivation comes from two things, and they say pain and pleasure, and it's so true. Like pleasure, because I want to leave a legacy for my family, and I want my dad and my family to be proud of me, but also pain from, like you said, the people that they're still trying to figure out, how am I making it work? I feel bad for them, Martin. Let's get to this money. Martin.
Yeah. I think people who, they spend too much time thinking about other people. I'm sure the same with you. I don't give a hell about what anybody thinks at this point, right? I did when I was younger, and I still, there's times where I'm like, hey man, be true to yourself and get after it. Like this whole podcast, me posting videos, all those things, a year ago, I would be like, ooh, are you going to be that guy? And it's like, you're damn right I'm going to be that guy.
Because and you should.
Yeah, we all should.
The thing that I really like about you, Martin, and there's not a lot like you. I'm sorry. Nobody like my guy, Marty G.
Appreciate it.
All investors don't have are able to be versatile, are able to be down to earth, are able to just be like a chameleon. So like, I feel like you can adapt to different people and different things. And that's why you're always going to win, because you can gravitate to the Sandy Bradleys. Everybody can. They don't even know how. Not just me, Sandy Bradley, but I'm just saying different age categories, races, female, man, I really applaud you for that. I think that you, and like I said, I give props to Joe, are really good at that. And I think that's what's going to always set you aside from all these other wholesalers.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And just people in real estate, you have to learn how to adapt to everybody. If you want all the deals, you want the opportunities, you gotta get woke. No, I'm just kidding.
But I appreciate that. I think what it is for people is you got to really like people.
Yeah.
Truthfully, you really got to like them. You got to want to know their story. I've always liked that. I've always just been interested in what people do. I've always been interested in just everything about just because other people are just more interesting. Like I know people think, it's just like you think this person's interesting, but they think you're more interesting. It's just kind of how it works because we know, like, you know yourself so well. It's like, oh, well, yeah, of course I do XYZ real estate. And of course I, buy these homes, but like, I already know that. So it's like, I think that's just where I just get interested in what people do because it's fun. And, stop thinking about yourself is really what it is. If you stop thinking about yourself and start thinking about others, that is where you can really start to win. I think that's, and I'm not saying I still think about myself. I'm still selfish.
Oh,
points.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Because we've had one less deals this year. I don't know who you're giving them to. If you're out there, you need to give them back.
Exactly.
Thank you. Give them back.
Exactly.
I need Martin back.
And
Stay out of the city.
And we're always working together. Sandy and I are always, we're always working together. And I think that's why, because we have similar mindsets. What's your mindset is very strong in the point of you have like a routine. You talked a little bit about it, but I want to hear like your must do's. Like, is there a must do morning routine? Because I know you're in the gym. I know you're, I'm a big fan that I don't go to church, but I'm a big fan of that part of life, being spiritual. Because I know that there's definitely.
I need it.
Okay,
you're nicer than me, Martin. I'm crazy. I'm crazy. So I need to go to church every once in a while so I could. You a little bit better than me. So really in the morning, it's crazy because I feel like I'm running off of 5 hours of sleep. I don't know about you. What about you, Martin? Probably the same thing, 4 to 5 hours.
I really actually get a decent sleep. I'm in
you
bed.
Do?
Yeah, I'm in bed by 9:30.
And you get up at?
I'm getting up at 6:30.
Okay. So what you on, 7 hours of sleep?
Yeah.
Okay, something like that. All right. Well, I get up in the morning. I say like a little small prayer, like, thank you, God, for waking me up this morning. Something small like that. And I get up and I go to the gym. The gym is a must. I actually don't feel right if I don't go.
So are you going 5 days a week? Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
I used to go 6, but I go drinking on the weekends sometimes.
Yeah.
And all wholesalers and realtors should.
Absolutely.
So I just go to the gym and then I do not answer that phone. I have had clients who will try to call me at 7 or 8 a.m. I will not answer my phone because I just feel like you need that time. Whenever your time is for yourself. Mine is in the morning. Maybe yours is at night, in the evening. Mine is in the morning, though. I don't want to be bothered. I want to get in here. I want to figure out, as I'm in the gym, I'm figuring out how my day is going to be. I look at my schedule and I figure out what I'm going to be doing for that day. I know what I'm doing, but I'm just, in my mind, I'm executing how I'm going to do it. So that is my free time. By about 10 o'clock, I am now ready to take calls. By like 9 o'clock, now I'm ready to take calls and go about whatever I have to do as a realtor. So normally, I should have some time in my schedule to do follow-up, but the leads have been coming in to where I'm not even doing follow-up. It's just like repeat. Like literally, I'm not joking, Martin. I'm averaging 2 deals a week.
That's excellent.
Like 2 deals a week. Right now, I have a sale going up tomorrow on Keller Street. Then I have another one going up on Hard Road. Then I have like a ton of stuff coming up. And this is what I will say for anybody who's out there who's just getting started. Sometimes you only need a few people in your corner. That's it. You don't need to have 100 wholesale friends. You don't need to know everybody. I mean, you do that through time. But if you have like 1 or 2 good people, I mean, that's how I got my career started. I'm not going to lie. It's been like maybe a few people that genuinely work with me, that genuinely love me, that genuinely are my partners, that want to see me grow. I don't know about everybody else. You know, I pass and I do deals with a lot of people out here, but literally it only just takes a few.
Ooh, that's a gem, boys and girls. Sandy
No,
is
for
dropping
real.
bombs. No, that's really good because I think people need to hear that. They need to, especially realtors who are starting out, they feel like they need to network, and talk to them. So many people. And you, like you said, you need quality over quantity. It's hard to kind of find those people. And you
Oh,
kind of
it's
talk,
hard.
right? It's hard. And you talked about it earlier. You talked about, you have to sow quite a bit, right? Well, I'm sorry. You have to, you
No,
have to
you're right.
plant a bunch of seeds, right? You have to sow quite a
Yeah.
bit. And so what would that look like for somebody? What would you say if someone's brand new, that's a wholesaler or an agent, what would you say? What would be like their
Find
first
somebody
step?
that's new too. Find somebody that's hungry too.
Mm,
You know, when I first got on, I didn't find somebody new. Joe Lavabera was already there. And although he was a great mentor, there was only so much money I was going to make with him because everybody else knows him. Still to this day, me and Joe only do a few deals a year, but he's an awesome person to go to. But if I was a new person, I would find somebody new also. Find somebody with the same hustle as you. Because when I first started, a couple of my people were new, and now we grew together. You know, one of the guys that I started off with, he bought his first house from me for $10,000. $10,000 house. That was my first house I sold.
love it.
Yeah, and I just sold his house for like 125,000 2 days ago. So
Nice.
he was new, I was new, and we grew together. So I would say, you know, yeah, you can try to find people who've been around for a long time. You could try to find the U's or the Joe Lavaberas or, you know, whoever, but network, find somebody who's new just like you, that wants it just like you. You guys can probably grow and work together, you know? That
I
would be
love
my
that.
suggestion.
I love that because it's so true. It's hard to find, it's not hard to find mentors, but it's hard to find the time from a mentor, especially if you're not sure what it is that you're trying to do, right? And if you don't really have your goals, and this is really tough for people because it's still something that's tough for me when I'm trying to maybe go to that next level and I'm not sure where my focus is. You really want to just be around people who are doing a lot of big things, but the day to day, you want to be talking with someone who's on the same level as you to keep that like, hey, I'm doing this. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm doing that too. Or, hey, I
Right,
just saw this. Okay, I'm going to go to that meeting too. Hey, I just
right.
joined this group. Okay, I'm going to join that too. So it's a way of keeping accountability in a way,
Yeah.
right? Like a hustle accountability, which I think a lot of people need. I think that's more important than a lot of things. I think we get crazy on a lot of different, hey, where could I go for this? Or my website or my business card. It's like, where's your hustle accountability? Where it's like, what are you doing today to get something across your plate? Because I heard something that it kind of like stayed in my brain forever, but I'm not a realtor, but I took a realtor class a long time ago. And the guy would be like, I would just knock on everybody's door until I got a listing.
And
So I
that's
wouldn't go
it.
home until I got a listing.
Period. And I'm not taking no for an answer.
Mm.
I'm not. And I'm going to keep persistency. Oh my goodness. Literally one of the guys that I do so much business with, one of the first things that he said to me, the reason why I became his realtor and I started working with him, he's like, you are so pig-headed persistent. Like you will just go. Don't lie, Martin. You know I'll bring a deal back from the dead.
You really do. And that's why it's a no-brainer to work with you. I mean, for anybody who's got a deal or they're looking for somebody who, and again, have something of substance. If you're gonna talk to Sandy, again, if you're someone looking to buy or sell, talk to Sandy. But if you're someone who's, if you have a real lead, then yeah, we'll talk. She'll talk to you.
Can I share a story real quick? Because I know I'm almost out of time and I just want to share the story. I actually think I've already shared it with you, but I want to share it with everybody else. All right. Whew. All right. What's funny thing is I have this client. Okay. She bought a house for me a couple years back, and lovely client, love her to death. I don't even know if she's listening, but I got to put this story out here because this story has to reach the universe. And love her to death, helped her buy her first house. She's even sent me like 1 or 2 leads for her relatives to buy houses. So she came to me about 2 months ago and asked me if I can help her purchase one of her relatives' properties. Okay. So I told her yes. And, basically did all of the legwork, got her contacted with the mortgage officers, yada, yada. We went through the spiel. She wound up not purchasing the house. Now, me being a realtor and a wholesaler, I just left it completely there. I didn't ask her if she wanted to wholesale the house. I just said, okay, let me help you buy it. You can't buy it, fine. I left it alone. Now, I went on about my business for about 2 or 3 weeks. And the next thing I know, she calls me back and asks me if I can help wholesale her house, help her wholesale her family member's house.
Yes.
Now, please mind you, Martin, I did not offer to wholesale because, number one, I wholesale with people who already wholesale, who have paid their way into the game, who have spent thousands of dollars on understanding and developing how wholesale works. And it's not something that just falls down from the tree and you just get to have a wholesale deal.
Right.
I never even offered it from the beginning. She asked me if I could help her. I said yes. So I went to her and I said, listen, if you find the buyer, you put everything together, I will write the contract up for you. I'll charge you $1,000 to do so. I don't want anything to do with it. I'll charge you the $1,000 to do so. So she could not find a buyer. She could not, come up with the deal. She didn't have any bearings on that. So me knowing the network that I know, I brought the buyer. You know who the buyer is too, but anyway. So I brought the buyer. We had an opportunity to almost make $12,000. Was very disappointing as I'm putting together the paperwork, as I'm doing all of this stuff. We're supposed to be splitting $6,000 a piece. Literally didn't take us more than 45 minutes to do this deal. This is one of those home runs we were talking about, right? Don't you know that after I put the contract together, bring the buyer, send the contracts over and everything, the lady then turns to me and says, oh no, Cassandra, I don't feel comfortable with you getting half. And I politely walked away.
Yeah.
Because every single person that I have worked with, you, Joe, the list goes on, Lewis, everybody who understands real estate, everybody who's a wholesaler, everybody who's put in that work in the game understands that was a spectacular. It really was, but it's just that that's the only advice that I have for somebody new. Okay. When I first started, my first 4 transactions were like $500 a piece. So I was shooting in the gym. Everybody don't want to shoot in the gym. Everybody just wants it to just happen. What I couldn't understand is how she didn't realize the value and what she was getting from me. I'm teaching you how to write up an assignment. I'm teaching you how to assign it. This is information that you're going to have access to forever, whether you work with me or not. So I'm not understanding. People pay thousands of dollars to mentors to understand how to wholesaling. Here I am sitting right next to you with an opportunity for you to make $5 to $6 grand, and you tell me no. Now I happily walked away from that because anybody who doesn't understand my work, and the fact that I even have to explain to you why that was, I couldn't even believe it. I'm like lost for words because, and again, I make thousands of dollars in real estate, but like I said, my first 4 deals, I made $500.
Right.
That's that heart. But you can't, but you don't want to split $12,000 with me? And you don't have to do anything?
And you're learning and you're getting access. And now you have these relationships and you get it. And you now can say you did a deal and now you have momentum. These are all things that, like you were saying, when you do your deals, you just chalk that up to the game of like, yeah, I got $500, but I'm doing deals and I'm learning and I know the people. And now I'm a person of, that people can come to potentially. And now I'm like a player in the game, right? Like I'm not on the bench. I'm like really in it. Like I'm really making money through real estate. That's good for you for walking away. That's tough to walk away, but it's easy to walk away because you just don't get it. Yeah. And I think this will be hopefully a good learning lesson for that person. And it will be something as a good story for the show. I got to say this, I need Sandy back on because I really want to dive into some of the deals she's done. I want to dive into, what's next. I want to dive into her career a little bit more because I know she's got some crazy stories, but like I said, time unfortunately is up. But Sandy, what a pleasure. You're my favorite agent. And I just got to tell you, I believe this, and this is true. I wouldn't be where I am without you.
Cut it out, Martin.
I wouldn't be where I am without you. I really don't believe. I think I know this. I don't think I've learned a ton from you. And I appreciate you. I appreciate your business. I appreciate your hustle. More importantly, I appreciate your friendship.
Thank you.
Guys,
Let's
if you
do
need to get in touch
deals.
if you guys need to get in touch with Sandy, go to her website. I'm going to put in the show notes her website, her email, her information, and from that
Can't
point,
wait
guys,
to do a deal with you guys, even if we make $500. No, I'm just kidding.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning into the Marty Grisani Show. If you're listening on Apple Podcast, leave us an honest rating and review. If you're on Spotify, make sure you follow us for weekly episodes.